to order. First line of business is the consent agenda, November 15th, last meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look over it? If so, if everybody's okay with it,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
motion by, Mayor. Second by Commissioner Hoffman. Yeah.
Good morning. All right.
All those.
Minutes.
Minutes past, 6:00. Jim, give another.
Yes, sir. Anybody else need an agenda?
Seven. I'm sorry. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is, the Santec task order update. On the agenda, you can see that, I'm gonna read through the contract, things that, that they can do and, the contract is ordered them to do. Just only want to look over it. And, is there anything that you see that you don't agree with in it, let us know.
Small price to pay to have that handled for us for a year.
Yeah, I think that's good with the last go around. Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Well, that's been voted on the site.
That's all, I just wanted everybody to read through it.
We heard from those people.
Well, I talked with him, we got an email from Jim, they're still working, and, he'll be here, he'll be on phone in contact with us throughout, the next couple of months, and, next week we'll be on phone.
Okay.
Next, on the agenda is the PSJ RA board membership. I think in the, last commissioner meeting, Commissioner Hoffman nominated Mr. Eddie.
That was me.
Oh, that was you, Fred, I'm sorry, Commissioner Larry, asked that we appoint, Mr. Eddie Fields as a board member. Did we have to vote on that here, did we pass it in the
I
last?
thought we already passed.
You've already
For
approved
Eddie,
it.
yes.
We already passed it,
For Eddie.
okay, I just wanna make sure.
Jim, does that need to be codified by the full board of the city? Because the city appoints CRA members
You did, you actually appointed the membership for your
at the
two.
city.
Yes, sir, you did. And what y'all talked about doing was coming back to this meeting today and talking about somebody, nominate somebody to bring before the commission for another.
They go up to 9.
Yes.
If that's the case, does anybody have anyone they wanna nominate?
Well, I felt like we needed to stick to the folks that were initially, raised their hand to volunteer to serve on the board. And frankly, it's not here in front of me today, and I don't remember the name of those. Do you recall? Beside Eddie was on there, and there were, and then, of course, we nominated, voted on Chester, and Chester resigned, so we got, one more. Do you recall?
I think when Chester, resigned, I think they had a letter, with a, recommendation from them,
Correct.
but other than that, the applications that, we have with the city, we already have those on file, right? So,
I think you went through what you had.
Who were those?
Who are they?
I believe, we have Mr. Davis, which now he's on your board, and we have Mr. Fields, which is now on your board. And, actually, there was a nomination for Chester Davis, which he respectfully declined. So I don't know, and the only other person that was mentioned when Mr. Davis resigned his position or didn't go forward, he gave a recommendation from there, but we don't have any other formal.
We had 5 on there at one time,
One person pulled themselves off because they didn't realize they didn't live or have a business.
Right.
Yeah,
I remember that.
that's the
But
only
it seemed
one.
like we had 5 people on there.
Can we just do this with the 7 that we have here?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to, I don't think you have to add anyone, we can keep it as is.
I'm fine with going with the 7 here. Me and
I'm comfortable with this.
I'm happy.
It's easier to manage the fewer people you got, it's easier to manage.
Just,
Just a comment, I think a lot of times when we're looking at whoever we put on the board, if people are not attending, are not coming to city council meeting, people are not, in doing anything with the community, we shouldn't even consider them. Because one of the problems that we're having, representation of the community, if you're not involved, why would we put them on the board?
Sure.
So I think we need to really look at that.
I think we got a great, sitting right here right now, it looks pretty good.
And I think in our bylaws, if you miss 2 consecutive meetings, you're removed. And I just think that we need to stick to our guns with that. If you don't attend, you need to be gone.
yes, I mean,
2 consecutive meetings.
I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we stay with the 7 people that are here and we move forward and get this thing started. We get bogged down in picking another person, and then before you know it, you off another month, so.
with Linda Bullock, we really have 8.
Is she on it now?
Yes.
Oh, well, then there we go.
But she wasn't at the last meeting and she got this.
How many meetings has she missed?
She got a pretty good excuse this time. I called and, she got a pretty good excuse this time, so I think let's just, I don't know,
But how many excuses we gonna accept, in fairness,
well, if it's a legitimate excuse, I accept one.
one?
It does say unexcused absences.
Yeah.
Unexcused, okay.
I'll accept one, I mean, legitimate excuses, if someone can't make it, I mean, if you have one legitimate excuse, I think that's okay. But now, if you continue, if you miss another one, after you have that, okay, let's say this, if you miss one meeting, and then we come back, and, they have an excuse, but they miss another one in that same time period, that's consecutive.
That's a second.
Yeah. That's all consecutive. So if they got an excuse this time, we'll let that go, but the next time, we'll go ahead and,
So we got, basically we got 8 now.
Yeah, I'll amend the motion to include the 8th person.
okay.
I'll second.
Yeah.
I need to clarify, is it allowed to have an even number of?
That's what I'm gonna say,
Is it allowed by our bylaws?
It's never a recommendation.
It's never a recommendation.
It's not prohibited.
But I don't know that it's prohibited. I think you can have up to 9 members.
We never have perfect attendance
There
anyway.
you go. So if it becomes a problem, you can take it.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and just maybe go ahead and add another one to make it that
No, I think we're good. And honestly, people don't show up to these meetings as often as you'd like them to.
Yeah.
And you're always gonna want to get an even number sometimes.
Commissioner Hoffman, what was your, motion?
The motion is to move forward with the existing 7 plus the, member that's absent, making a total of 8.
And that was my second.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
So in the discussion, yes, in the event that we do have we have to vote and we get 4-4, how will it be resolved?
The chair doesn't vote, and there's an odd number or an even number, is that right? Is that how that works?
Well, what you would have is you would have a strong vote is what you have, the chances are slim, but Mark is exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean,
The business
a motion
still
not
comes-
carried if it's a tie,
Yeah.
so you just have to maybe, restate the motion or something, maybe based on the discussion to get a majority vote, I guess, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So, anyway,
So, motion with, Commissioner Hoffman still stand?
Yes.
Yes,
A second by
me, was
that
that,
was it?
yeah,
Okay, is there, any discussion, we did that, okay, everybody agree?
yeah, yeah. Any,
Any those that don't? Okay, motion passed 7-0, 8-0.
seven. All right,
Okay, next on the agenda is the, budget, financial update. Then we have like, $65,000 available. Right now,
Yeah, we've received both the tip payments, one from the city and from the county, for $64,000 in revenue for this fiscal period. We have a total of 114 in our savings account.
And the only things you've allocated for this year is the 20-something thousand for the contract that you currently have with Stantec, and then you'll have some money for accounting services on there, but I would be thinking about how you want to spend that money for your budget for this year.
and how much you need to be looking at, Jim, as far as spending?
Call it about $30,000 roughly, yeah.
Okay, so if anybody have any ideas of how you would like to spend the money, you would like to hold on to it, what, does anybody have?
Can we research that and bring some proposal back at the next meeting?
no, I like that.
And I think that we need to look at the master plan and see what, I mean, everything that we vote on for this CRA should have something to do to get us closer to that goal.
Right.
So we need to look at that, and glean ideas from it.
And Eddie,
Someone presented an idea to me about a pocket park in order to pull those people off, MLK. It don't look good. And even though they're trying to clean it up, they got a porta potty out there, they congregate there, that don't look good at all.
It does.
And it was a consideration for someone to either donate some property or purchase the property to move them from that. A park where they can play checkers, chess, cards, something nice and presentable off that street back there somewhere. Because people are starting to ride through just to look. That's a deterrent to make them not want to even do anything in Port St Joe. And the thing what I like that I'm seeing, rebuild Florida is helping quite a few people with building their homes, is changing the appearance. So as things are getting better, we want to continue to make it better, and that is a blight right there at the end of MLK and every way they see it.
but, Mr. Chairman, I like the idea, matter of fact, the prior PSJ DRA had that same idea, but moving it off MLK, will it make them move, or will they just enjoy being right there where they can see what's going on? I like it, and I would like to maybe see if that property owner, whoever owns that property there, would lease it to the PSJ DRA somehow, and then we could convert it to a pocket park, that would look nice and, be more presentable. So, I mean, I'm not sure pocket park's gonna make folks move to another location. You tell me, you know better than I do. I don't, I'm just thinking.
Mr. Chair.
I think that's a good idea, about, leasing
Yeah, I think so
that property.
Mr. Chair, that was one of the ideas that we had in our original master plan when we first started talking about redevelopment Port St Joe. And I was sharing that, because of the fact that we would love to move that scenario off of Martin Luther King. That is absolutely something that we need to move out. If we're gonna redevelop anything over there, that would be a site that will cause people not to want to build in that community. So we talked to some of the people that own property down on Avenue B or some of the other streets that have lots that's available. Maybe we can either donate or rent or whatever, but we definitely need to move them off of MLK. That is a bad site for any business that wants to come in. And then like I said, maybe we can create an ordinance after we build a park or see about a park in there that would, hold them accountable for, being out there, being a bad sore, site for our community.
What about property owner, talking to the property owner and getting them to put, private property, no trespass?
Right, yes,
I- I've done,
The property belongs
You
to.
tried that, not gonna work.
Property belongs to London Gap, but I think we still need to do something to wake up that area, because it's a bad site
Yeah.
store. And we know that it might be illegal activity going on, I'm not saying it is, but it looks as if it's a bad spot. So I think if we can create a pocket park, especially if part of the master plan, we can do something to move them off, and maybe create an ordinance that'll help us out.
Make it attractive enough for them that they'll want it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree, if we don't, get the property owner to, put no trespassing signs up, there's nothing that we can do to keep them off. I mean, that's just the law.
Yeah.
So we really need to, I'll talk to the property owner, because it really needs to be done.
Yeah, I think you can build 6 pocket parks.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna have anything to do with people that's on that lot we're discussing. That, the people that are on that lot are not going to move to a regulated city park. Because
Fines double.
I'll just go ahead and say, some of the things they enjoy doing will not be permitted in a public, city-owned or leased park.
Can't drink
They're
beer.
not, you can build all these things, but they're not gonna go to those things because it became clear in my mind when they put up a porta toilet and they put the garbage cans up. They have no intention or desire to move to another location because the things they wanna do is not gonna be allowed. The only way to solve this issue is work with the landowner and either the city purchase the land, which that's what I would be in favor for, or lease it, but it has to be that spot. Can't be around the corner or 2 lots down, or they'll just stay where they are.
Then they'll just shuffle to another.
But
lot
if the
somewhere.
city purchases it, they're just gonna move to another spot on MLK because city property, there's no alcoholic beverages on city property unless you have a special permit.
Right, our only hope would be that the other landowners, because there's only 4 or 5 lots available. We would just be hoping that the future spot that they move to, we could work with, and maybe they wouldn't allow it. Because most people that own property are not going to put up with that, because it affects the value of their property and the surrounding properties.
I think that, I don't see any of the property owners allowing that, to happen on their property in their case.
Right.
What I know, so,
You got liability issues too. If I was a property owner, I'd be worried about somebody having a fight or tripping and falling, busting their head or.
There is another option, code enforcement.
Code
There you go.
enforcement, there you go, you hit it
This
right
is something
there.
the board wants
Code
to do.
enforcement.
Code enforcement, unlawful accumulation, and
That's
there's a
right.
lot of different things that you could expand on that. If you wanted to take that route, we could go through code enforcement noticing if that's the wish of the board.
Well, it sounds like the biggest problem is undesirable activity. If we could lease or purchase that land and just put cameras up, sure, they're going to get tore down, but we'll catch who's doing it, and we can run them out of that area just by surveillance. We could get that.
I'd rather defer to the people that live there.
yeah.
These guys give us the best idea to help improve it. And that's all we can do. Guys
What
live
about,
there.
what about down at the end of Avenue, MLK down Avenue G?
Well, what we just discussed was the fact that they love to accumulate in an area where they can be seen because of the activity that's going on. So, moving it too far away from Martin Luther King would actually hinder what we want to do. But the idea is just to move them somewhere that's not direct eye contact for MLK. And I think if we move it off, maybe 1 block or so, we have property that's not being used, just one lot away off of the the west side, and same thing, 2 blocks, to these, 2 lots to these.
So when we could try that through, through code enforcement, we would force them to move.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But we gotta have a decent place for them to move, because we buy it, it's public, and then.
And that's why I thought we could take and invest any CRA funds that we have into actually developing some type of project that would entice them to be there.
Yeah.
It might not be something that we would actually say they can go and do right now, but maybe we could come up with something that would entice them to move from that particular spot.
Well, but after, discussion, I think, maybe the chief, since some of the officers, all they got to do is roll up there in his park. His park. They don't even have to hassle them. That's right, just park. Just park, yeah. They roll up there enough time. And just park, yeah. They doing illegal activities, they gonna move themselves.
Yeah.
I see them up there, across there, sometimes.
No, just park, just park right there where they at. That's all you gotta do.
Just park right where they at.
They gonna get tired of that. They'll move on their own. And I feel there'll be a suggestion there, okay, now they done moved to this spot, won't be in that spot right in front. That's no doubt in my mind, the chief or some of the officers ride up there and just park. Just park. They ain't got to get out, they don't have to say one word, just sit park, say, they gonna move that.
That's a great idea.
Especially if illegal activities are going on. I'm not saying it is, I don't know what they do, all I know they congregate, but I do feel that if they roll up there.
There's illegal
And-
activity. I've been up there the last couple of days.
They made that substation right there.
Right, and on Cole Boulevard.
On Cole Boulevard, where your
Absolutely.
all they do is just park there.
Yeah.
And they change the whole scenario.
The whole scenario. That's right.
We're trying to, put a park somewhere
Now, what
that'll
about
move them off
Hey,
MLK, and the suggestion was you guys just park right in front of the lot there for a couple hours every day. It might entice them to move, but.
I don't know, we got nice parts to watch for gym, and nobody's using it for that.
It's 80-20. I mean, you got 20% criminal activity, people conducting criminal activity at that spot. Then 80% of people just want to hang out and socialize. And the 20% we want gone. The 80% we just need them to be somewhere else, because it's bringing a bad light to that area. Because it doesn't look good with couches and stuff. And for the things that y'all want to improve on MLK,
Right.
couches, burned barrels, garbage, stuff that accumulates right there in that area.
That's why the easiest way is just to notify the property. If the property owner knows they're responsible for the activity on that property, you send a notice to them, the code enforcement says that, hey, you've got unlawful accumulation, you've got couches, you've got porta potties, you've got all this stuff on that property, and we're gonna take them for a hearing and be fine. I think the problem will go away.
Why don't we start with the low hanging fruit and stick Richie on? And then, after that, let's start looking at possible locations for pocket parks near the area. And we're probably gonna have to save up a little bit more to get one. Work out at least look great.
Let's do this, let me talk to the property owner and, see if he can go ahead and put no trespassing signs up. If they violate that, then I think, chief, you can do something about it.
Yes.
Okay, so let me do that first before we start finding the guy that owns it. And, next meeting, we'll see what happens.
And eventually, we're gonna have to get each property owner on MLK to have the same mindset of, we don't want people hanging out on these properties, just making it a hangout, because as y'all know as well as I do, it'll migrate. I think that's what y'all were saying when I walked in, it'll migrate to another property, and we end up having the same problem on another piece of property, because there's really, and I'm sure y'all talked about this, nowhere for them to hang out.
That's what we're trying to find a creative place for them to, social hangout.
And my dream within the next 5 years is kind of like they did, I think you were referring to Candy Corner. They put up cameras. And I want cameras along the corridor, Reed Avenue and MLK, because if something's gonna get hit, that's where it's at, that's where the business is on.
So do you have any cellular cameras? No?
I do not. I have access to about 16 of the I-10 cameras that are just sitting in the warehouse, that all we'd have to do is pay for the back end. I've got That's probably $36,000 worth of cameras. It's just sitting in a warehouse.
We just have to pay for the cloud storage, is that what you're saying?
Either that or however, we're wiring it into the DVR system, which $500 for a DVR, then go through Banyan to figure out how to get that video back to the DVR, which he says radio, they do it on I-10 with radio. Basically, whatever megahertz is transmitting the video back to a central area, and it jumps, it's sequenced. So the camera furthest from the unit transfers to the other camera, transfers to the other camera, back to the unit.
Could that be part of the CRA fund?
It can be. The CRA money is very unregulated. That's why so many people go to jail for it.
We talked about, cameras at Frank Hay Park, and he said it would be low cost to put them on a cell phone. Put like we have in our cars.
$10 a month.
We have cradle points in our cars. He said you put a cradle point in a weatherproof box at, Frank Hay Park, and it would cellular transfer back to the thing. And he said we could actually do that with a directional radio if we didn't want to do cellular from City Hall roof to Frank Hay Park, because it's line of sight. Because we've already been exploring that to get cameras down there with some of the things that we've had going on in the last 6 months. So there's several different options. We just need to spec out what we would want and sit down and get a price quote on it. And if it's too high, we just don't do it.
All right. Well, anybody got anything else concerning the budget? Now, let's do this, let's put our heads together and figure out, about this property and what we want to do. And once I talk to the owner, we'll have another discussion, as far as that property, and this, the money in the budget, just think about anything else we might want to do with it. Does anybody have anything? Anybody in the audience?
Mr. Chairman, do y'all want to meet on the first Tuesday of each month? Do y'all want to go ahead and set a time that way we can make sure everybody knows?
Yes, recommend. We go on it,
Probably a good idea.
Motion to move meetings to the first Tuesday of every month, 1 hour prior to the regular meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Same sign. Vote pass 8-0. Motion pass 8-0. 7-0. 7-0. Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn.
Vote to adjourn?
Motion to move the next meeting up half hour.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
That was fast. You get to keep your job. That's very good.